In today's episode, we're going to be creating some high-end home decor using common items you can find at Dollar Tree. I hope you enjoy. For this project, I'm using one of Dollar Tree's candy jars with the lid on it. I've had mine for a few years, so it's pretty large. The ones they carry now are a lot smaller, but you could certainly recreate this project using the smaller one. Because of its shape, I want to create a faux tilted piece of pottery for the fraction of the cost of one you would find at a retail store. The first thing I need to do is give it a really thorough cleaning to make sure that my paint will adhere well. I'm using some rubbing alcohol to remove any dust or oils that may be on this. I'm using a chalk paint in the color Mineral. It's a beautiful gray color. This is going to be our base coat. I'm using chalk paint because it adheres to most anything and it will give me a little bit of texture, just like our pottery inspiration. But you could also use a spray paint. This will take at least 2 coats, allowing it to dry in between coats. I will also make sure to paint the inside of the rim so it will have one cohesive look. Once I've allowed sufficient enough time for both coats to dry, I'll be using a piece of a bath sponge that you can find at Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut a section of that off to use to apply a darker gray. This color is called pewter gray. This will give us a variation of color. Just dab your sponge into your paint and then dab it onto your plate, just so that you have the bottom of the sponge covered. Then you're just going to pounce up and down all over this piece, leaving some of the lighter gray peeking through. You'll also want to go in various different directions with the sponge so you don't have any harsh lines. For the hard to reach areas around the rim, I used a small paintbrush and dabbed it, but still allowing some of that lighter gray to peek through. Once the entire piece is covered, allow a sufficient enough time for this coat of paint to dry. To create a darker gray, I'm adding a little bit of black paint to the pewter gray, mixing it thoroughly, and then repeating the same process using that same sponge, just pouncing it all over this piece, but still allowing the 2 lighter grays to peek through. This is how it looks now that all 3 gray colors have been applied and dry. I do recommend that you seal this paint either using a clear coat sealant spray, or you could also use Mod Podge. This will help to keep your paint from chipping off. I want to add a bit of a decorative touch around the rim, and to do that I'll be using some of Dollar Tree's cork ribbon and hot gluing that just around the rim in a few different areas. If you want to use this to plant real flowers or greenery in, you would need to very carefully drill some holes in the bottom to allow for drainage. I will be using some Dollar Tree styrofoam as well as some of their hanging eucalyptus. I'm going to cut each of the stems from the bundle so that I can place these all throughout the styrofoam and make this look nice and full. You could then add some hot glue to the bottom of your styrofoam before placing it inside of your faux tilted pottery. Not only would this be beautiful with greenery, but you could also add some gorgeous flowers like this bundle I found at Hobby Lobby. For this project, I'm using 4 of these 4x4 faux wood frames that you can find at Dollar Tree. They are really beautiful. We're going to remove all of the backings and set those to the side. We don't need those for this project. Remove all of the glass and set it to the side for right now. Carefully remove all of the black tabs that were holding the backs in. You want to do this for all 4 frames. At Dollar Tree, you can find frosted window film. They have 2 different designs. They have sort of like a little checkered pattern and a floral pattern. I'm going to use the floral pattern for this project. The directions state that you should start with a clean surface, spray water on the glass, peel off the release paper, put the window film onto the surface, and use a dry towel to squeeze out any of the air bubbles and to make the vinyl flat. I'm going to mark on the back side of the vinyl the size that I need for each of the 4 pieces of glass, and then I'll cut that out. I was able to get 3 pieces of glass cut from one small section, and then I just added the 4th piece off to the right hand side. Now I have plenty of this window film left for any future projects that I want to do. Using some Windex, I'm going to clean both sides of each of these 4 pieces of glass. Then I'm going to spritz some water on top of the glass and just pull the top portion of the release paper from the back. Line this up with the top of the glass and make sure it adheres evenly across. Then I can pull the rest of the release paper down and pressing as I go to make sure there are no air bubbles. Look at how beautiful this frosted tint design is. I'll do this for all 4 pieces of glass. Now I can attach the glass inside of each of the frames. I'm going to use a combination of Gorilla Super Glue and hot glue because I know the hot glue is not going to be a strong enough hold. I'm going to place that super glue in each of the 4 corners and then go around the edging on all 4 sides with the hot glue. Then I can press my glass, make sure it is flat and fits perfectly inside of the frame. Hold that in place until the glue sets up, and I'm going to do that for all 4 frames. Once that is complete, I'm going to take a wooden dowel that you can find at Dollar Tree, line it up with the side of the frame, and make a mark. Using my handheld miter shears, I'm going to cut that to size and then run that over a piece of sandpaper to smooth it flat. I'm going to cut 4 dowels the same size. To create the color very similar to the frames, I'm going to start by using burnt umber and painting each of these dowels, including the ends. Allow enough time for each of these to dry. Using a beige color called Country Twill and a dry brush, I'm going to dab the brush into the paint, wipe most of it off, and then apply the beige color over the dark wooden dowels to give us a very similar color to each of the frames. I'm going to take 2 of the frames and I want to attach them, but I don't want them to be end to end. So I'm going to be placing a dowel at the corner of each of the frames. To make sure that everything remains straight, I'm going to use a square to line up each of the sides. You can use a combination of a permanent adhesive as well as hot glue to glue the dowels to both of these frames. Move the square and repeat that process on the opposite side, placing the dowel in the corner of the 2 frames. Once that has set up, you can carefully move it around and attach your 4th frame and final 2 dowels. There are several different ways that you can use this. I wish that I had a 5th frame that matches, however I don't. So I'm going to be using this frame from Dollar Tree that I have previously painted the Country Twill color. I'll go ahead and remove the glass as well as the tabs from the back. I will adhere the frosted vinyl tint to the glass and dry brush the burnt umber color over the frame to make it match the color of the other 4 frames. Once the paint has dried, I can then attach the glass inside of the frame using the super glue and hot glue combination. To ensure that the glass does not come out of the frame, you could also use hot glue and go around the edging on the back for each of these frames. One of the ways you can use this is to put a battery-operated LED candle inside and use your 5th frame to place on top. Or you could place fairy lights inside, which gives it a much brighter glow. If you didn't want to use the top frame, you could add in some lamb's ear or your favorite greenery with the fairy lights. The possibilities with this project are endless. For this project, we're going to create something very similar to Pottery Barn's glass table lamp that they are selling for $149. You don't even need a lamp kit or an electric cord for this. And we're going to do this on a very small budget. For the base of the lamp, you could use one of Dollar Tree's extra tall hurricane vases. However, I didn't have one, but I do have a pickle jar that I've already cleaned up, and I think it's the perfect shape. You could also use any large jar or vase that you already have on hand. I am also using this lampshade that I found at Dollar General for only $5. You could find lampshades at the thrift store for just a few dollars. Whichever base you decide on, you would need to use a permanent adhesive like super glue gel or E6000 to attach the lampshade to the base in the 3 areas where the lampshade would meet the rim. I'll be showing you several different options. I purchased these 2 rechargeable light bulbs from Amazon, and I'll leave the link to that in my description box below. If you need lighting in an area that doesn't have an outlet, this is a perfect solution. They are magnetic, so the bottom attaches like this if you wanted to put it in a regular light socket. It comes with extra magnets with adhesive on the back if you want to put this in a place like under a cabinet or in a closet. Each bulb comes with a charging cord, and when fully charged should last up to 10 hours, depending on the brightness mode you use. It comes with a remote control. You can change the color temperature from white, warm, and warm. They are also dimmable at 30%, 60%, and 100%. As well as it provides a timer for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, or 2 hours. I love that it comes with 2, so one can be fully charged when you need to switch them out. I hope you enjoyed today's projects and found tons of inspiration. If you have a favorite, please let me know in the comment section down below because I always love to know which one is your favorite. If you haven't subscribed already, I would love you to click that subscribe button right below the video. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Please take care, and I will see you guys next time.